Hi guys, it's Alex. Welcome back to my channel. Introspection and reflecting is so important for personal growth. It's easy to kind of live linearly and never be reflecting or checking in with yourself, but doing this actually robs us of a lot of growth and learning opportunities in our lives. Reflecting allows you to learn about yourself, your mental and emotional processes, and how those affect how you live your life, how you learn, how you interact with others. It helps you to assess and define your values, reflect on what you're learning, and grow as a person. And the middle of the year is a perfect opportunity to do this. Halfway through the year, it's a great time to assess how you're going in the first half of the year so far, where you want to be in the second half. So today I'm going to be sharing a few different things that you can do to kind of reflect and kind of just review your life for the middle of the year, a life audit, if you will. You don't have to do all of these, but my hope is just that these ideas would help you to kind of slow down, reflect on where you're at and where you want to be, and also how you're planning on getting there. You don't have to do all of these, of course, but my hope is just that these ideas will just kind of help you to slow down and reflect and just kind of get an idea of where you're at mentally, emotionally, in all different areas of your life. And I also just want to start off this video by saying that you are not defined by what you do or achieve. Your goals and whether or not you've reached them do not define who you are. So jumping straight into it, the first thing to consider for your mid-year life audit is a goals check-in. So check in with the goals and resolutions that you set at the start of the year. First thing to think about, are they still relevant? Our goals should grow and change with us. Something that may have been really important or relevant to you at the start of the year might not be so relevant now. And if that's the case, there is no point in continuing to try and reach that goal or stick to that resolution. So instead, try changing it or replacing it or just removing it altogether. Second thing to consider is, do you have too many goals? It's easy to get caught up in the new year motivation and resolution / goal setting, but were you too ambitious? Are you spreading yourself too thin trying to reach a bunch of goals that you're actually not making progress on them? Would it be a better use of your time and energy to instead focus on a smaller set of goals or resolutions or intentions? Have you made progress towards your goals, and why or why not? And finally, think about what are the practical things that you need to start doing in order to start making more progress towards your goals or to start growing more in that area you said you wanted to focus on. Think baby steps here. It's really good to have big picture goals, but what are the little practical steps, the small habitual changes that are going to get you there? I have 5 goals / intentions / things that I just wanted to focus on this year that I wrote down in my Notion at the start of the year. Those were to learn more about God, to spend less time on my phone, to slow down and reflect, to invest into YouTube, and to care for my mental health. And I feel like to a degree I have made some progress on those, but I think the reason that I haven't made more progress or just been spending more time investing into those areas is because I didn't actually give myself practical steps of how I was going to focus on those. So kind of reflecting and going in now, I can kind of decide, okay, to spend less time on my phone, I'm going to set aside 1 day a week where I don't go on my phone for the whole day, and just thinking more about like practically how am I going to achieve those goals. The second idea to kind of review or audit your life is to use a wheel of life. The Wheel of Life is an activity that I found online, which is essentially just a coaching tool that helps you to self-assess different areas of your life. The great thing about this is that it's not like a set in stone thing. You can change out the categories and customize it based on what is relevant in your life. I'll link an article below that I found that has information on the Wheel of Life, but also has a blank wheel template, so you can print this out, write your own categories on it, and just make it really customized. But the one I found and the categories that I chose to keep were mental health, physical health, relationships, work, finance, spirituality, recreation, and family. And you really get to interpret what those areas of your life mean for you and what is important to you in those areas. So for example, physical health, considering exercise, eating, and sleep. For finance, not looking at it as how much money I'm making, but how I'm going managing my money with budgeting / saving, and also how I'm going with generosity and just giving. Spirituality, my relationship with God and my faith. That is the most important one on there for me. I don't really like how this activity kind of places them all just as categories, because My faith definitely influences every other one on there. So you pretty much just look at each category of your life that you've written on your wheel and rate yourself from 1 to 10 on how you feel like you're going in that area, how healthy is that area of your life. And I found that this is just a really helpful tool for looking at each area of my life and really just like prompting reflection of how I'm going in each area. And then you can kind of have a look at the ratings you've given yourself and identify maybe 1 or 2 areas that you would like to improve. Don't try and focus on too many and try and improve everything at once. And for the 1 or 2 areas that you've chosen, consider 2 things. 1, what do I need to start doing to become healthier in this area? And what do I need to stop doing to become healthier in this area? Identify the areas that you're at a good level at that you would like to stay at or continue to improve, and think about what do I need to keep doing to maintain health in this area. And this activity can prompt a range of different reflective questions, and like I said, it's super customizable. Maybe not for everyone, but definitely a good tool to consider. And finally, I'm just going to give you some different journal prompts or reflective questions that you can journal out if you enjoy journaling, or you can just think about these if you're not a journaler. But pretty much just some questions that will help to prompt reflection and help you get an idea of where you're at, what you're learning, where you want to be. The first question to ask is, what are my highlights of the year so far? So things that you enjoyed doing, things that you're proud of, things that made you happy so far this year. And number 2, what are the lows of the year so far? And kind of following on from the lows question is number 3, what is my biggest area of struggle so far this year? We don't always like to admit when we're struggling, but I know for me, I have been learning recently that the areas that I'm struggling with are God working in my life to teach me something or grow me. So it is really important for me to be reflecting on what I'm struggling with and what that might mean, or what God is trying to say to me through that. The 4th reflective question you can ask is, what have I learned in the past 6 months? It's so important to be reflecting on what you're learning and how we're putting that into action, so we're not just kind of staying stagnant. It's also just really encouraging to be able to look back at a chunk of time and see tangibly or practically the things that you've actually learned in that time. The 5th reflective question you can ask is, how am I spending my time / what are my routines like? Your life as a whole is made up of your day-to-day, which is made up of a collection of your habits and your rhythms and your routines. You could just think about this, or you could actually just spend a day monitoring your time and actually kind of writing down all the things that you're doing throughout the day. This will help you assess what your current habits and rhythms are and what you might like to change. And I know I've done this a couple times. I'm always surprised at the amount of time that I waste, or the amount of time I spend not really knowing what I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like I'm spending a lot of time on something or not a lot of time on something, but then when I actually go through and just monitor how I'm spending my time, I am surprised. And the final reflective question you can ask yourself is, what is my purpose? The answer to this question informs a lot of what we do, and revisiting this question really helps to take us off autopilot of just going through life, checking boxes and doing things for the sake of it. It helps us to really question our motivation for why we're doing what we're doing. For myself, my purpose as a follower of Jesus is to love God and to love others. And asking this question and reminding myself of the answer helps me to kind of just check in and assess whether this purpose is currently informing the choices that I'm making, the things I'm doing, my daily routines and habits, or whether I've maybe fallen into a different pattern. Because it's really easy to be influenced by those around us or others or the world who tells us we should be doing something different. So this question of what is my purpose really helps me to just assess why the reason is I'm doing everything that I'm doing, and maybe how I can be falling into patterns of just checking boxes and doing things for the sake of it. But that is going to be it for today's video. I hope these tools and ideas were helpful for you guys, and that you can really just take some time as we get to the middle of the year to kind of slow down and reflect. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video.